I'd like to welcome everybody here to tonight's meeting on January 25th. Um, If we could all please stand and we'll pledge allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag
to
of the United States of
the
America,
United States
to the
of
republic
for which it
for which it
stands,
stands,
and
one
nation,
under
under God,
indivisible,
indivisible,
liberty and justice for all.
All right, we'll start our agenda workshop. I'd like to welcome Dr. Brad Ziliaks, the new superintendent of Fredonia Central Schools. Would like to say hello to the board and address the board right now. So Brad, it's all yours.
Yeah, absolutely. Again, thanks for having me tonight. I appreciate that. Just wanted to have a chance to say hello, introduce myself. I know it might seem odd that somebody from downstate, right outside of Oneonta, New York, in between Binghamton and Albany, applied for a job in Fredonia, but I am a Chautauqua County kid. I grew up on the south side of Jamestown and graduated from Jamestown High School. And of course, wanted to get out and about and see the world a little bit. So I lived in Rochester for a number of years, and then I had the chance about 5 years ago to become superintendent in a little place called Franklin, which is right next to Oneonta. Probably more in line with maybe a Pine Valley in this area. But it was a great experience. Definitely taught me a lot about the superintendency and how to be effective in this position. And my mom still lives in Jamestown, and she's getting to that phase of life where she could use a little extra support. So my sister lives in California, and she tells me all the time that there is no way she's coming back east. So I started to think a little bit about, if I could get back to Chautauqua County, offer my mom a little support, and also have a chance to reconnect with a number of friends I still have in the area. And one thing led to another, and the opening presented itself in Fredonia. And I think people know Fredonia is a great place to be, great school district, great village and town. And one thing led to another, and here I am about, I think this is technically day 16 on the job. During this first phase of really working in the district, I've set a couple of priorities for myself. Number one is definitely projecting positive attitude, positive energy about what's happening in the district. And there's a lot of great things happening within our buildings. I've also tried to be as visible as possible, being out and about within the buildings. I know it's a little bit more difficult to do that right now in the larger community. But I am living in Fredonia, so it's great to be part of the Fredonia community, absolutely. And I've also done my best to try to communicate as much as possible. I don't know if you've noticed, but from the district office, we've started sending out a Monday update, which you can see on Facebook or Twitter or through our webpage. It also goes out internally through our email system. But we have been trying to let people know what's going on in the district, and also particularly with district office. So I've done a little video as part of those communications, talking about a number of things. Last week's video really focused on the students. And when I came on board, I did a number of entry interviews where I sat down and spoke with people to learn about the district, but I also did a lot of entry surveys where I sent surveys out to our students, to our faculty and staff, our administration, as well as our parents and community members. And I got a lot of great feedback, and I wanted to share a little bit tonight with you about that. One of the questions I asked is, what would you want to tell me about our students? And got a lot of positive feedback about our students. I heard they were great kids. They were respectful, well-behaved, hardworking, willing to participate, high achieving, heavily involved in extracurricular activities, and very committed to their interests and passions. So I appreciated that feedback. And last week I shared that with the students. I encourage students to keep up the good work and keep moving forward in a positive way. I also addressed the students that maybe this school year hasn't gone quite as they anticipated. And it's certainly been a challenging school year in a lot of different ways. So I reminded them that the school year is not even halfway over at this point. That does happen at the end of this week, but technically we're still in the first half, and there's a lot of time to turn things around and recommit and get back on track. I reminded them that there's a number of adults in the building and around the building that are here to help. And it's just a matter of them reaching out and letting people know they're looking to have a conversation or a dialogue about how they might be able to make a plan for improvement. I also reminded them that there's all kinds of people at home in their world, mom, dad, brothers, sisters, aunts, uncles, grandma, grandpa, who might be willing to help out and be part of the solution as well. Today's message, I talked more about some of the things I learned from the entry surveys. And one of the questions I asked was, what would you like to tell me about the larger Fredonia community? And I think this is somewhat a reflection on the work that you're doing as a village board, because there's a lot of positives here as well. People told me that Fredonia is a great place to live and raise kids. People in Fredonia look out for each other. People in Fredonia value education. They support and have pride in our students. They support the district and district events and activities. They see SUNY Fredonia as being a valuable asset in the community, and that our community is increasingly more diverse. Another question I asked them was a little more focused on the school district. I asked, what aspects of the district do we take great pride in and must preserve as we move forward? They told me the things that we have pride in are our strong overall academic program, student success and involvement, our high quality and dedicated faculty and staff, our positive working relationships across all stakeholders, but particularly between student and adult, the variety of learning experiences that are available at Fredonia, successful extracurriculars in our athletic programs came up repeatedly in that conversation, along with other extracurriculars. The frequent celebrations and recognitions that the district has to recognize good work that's done, particularly amongst the students, and also our music and art programs. So I also asked, to be fair, so we heard about the good, I also asked where are the areas where we have room to improve. And some of the things that were consistently mentioned were consistent and timely communication, transparency in decision-making, overall clarity of district vision and goals, enhancement of technology, alignment of curriculum, targeted supports for all students, a pre-K to grade 12 system to support reading and literacy, and also targeted professional development. So we have a board meeting tomorrow night. I'm sharing a presentation with the board that digs into these topics a little bit deeper. But it has really helped me learn a lot about the district, a lot of the community. And you know, it kind of goes back to that idea, if you want to learn, ask some questions, then listen. And that's primarily what I've done for much of the last month or so. I recognize that we have a variety of strengths, but we also have some areas where we can do better. So we are going to start a process of putting a system in place to develop plans around these items that have been identified, and hopefully work collaboratively and work together to make Fredonia schools even a better place to be. And again, I want to emphasize that I have been extremely impressed over this last 16 days. I've been in all kinds of classrooms. I've been in every building. I've chatted with students. I've chatted with faculty and staff. There are a lot of great things happening in our school district. I'm proud to be here. I'm proud to be superintendent, and I'm looking forward to making this work and really continuing the good work that's been done while addressing those things where we need to take a step forward. So I think that's a little bit of what I wanted to share with you tonight. If there's any questions or anything I could follow up on, I'd be more than happy to to chat further, but I appreciate the opportunity and your time. And I also just want to say, any elected official, it is not everybody who is willing to get in the mix and be part of trying to make things better in their own community. So thank you for all you are doing. I think it says a lot about who you are as people and community members, that you're putting yourself out there to make sure that things are going well and the community moves forward in a positive way.
Thank you, Brad.
Thank you.
Welcome to Fredonia.
I appreciate that. Thank you so much.
How can we help you with your job?
Well, I think right now, I'm still kind of going through the process of getting up to speed. And, I think this, in my mind, is a first step towards the board in the school or the board in our administrative team or our district office working together. I feel like the school is an important part of the community. And I think we could have a relationship where we're helping each other to move forward in terms of our initiatives. And again, I'm still in the process of really kind of figuring out what that is and how exactly we're going to put things together. But I am open for any suggestions about how we can work together and hopefully have a win-win relationship.
Well, thank you, Brad. I appreciate you being here. I'm Jim Linden, by the way. And it's often over the years, it seemed like almost the village government and the school governing body are two totally separate entities, and they don't really necessarily confide in each other or work together to all that much over the past years. But it's great that you came forward and are willing to do that, that we can find ways to work together and help each other. We are one community. So I appreciate you looking at it that way. Thank you.
Yeah, no problem. I look forward to that. And, I feel like we're all in this together, and why not open the door to possibilities of how we can help each other.
Good, thanks.
Absolutely.
And again, thank you for being part of the community, and we welcome you. And don't be afraid to reach out to each and every one of us. We're all here to help out as much as we can, but welcome aboard.
Much appreciated. Thank you.
Again, Brad, thank you for coming tonight. It's been a pleasure having you here tonight to address the board, and it was a pleasure speaking to you earlier in the week. I think we can collaborate on many things, and I think we look forward to a long-lasting relationship with you in the school district. So again, thank you for coming tonight. And I guess if you want to stick on, you can. If you want to stick out, you can. So thank you very much and have a good night.
Yeah, I got a little bit of time. I'll probably stick around. I don't know if I can stay for the whole meeting, but yeah, I'd like to hear a little bit of the conversation, if you don't mind.
Absolutely. Stick around, sir. Thank you.
Yeah, appreciate your time. Absolutely.
All right, we will move on to review resolutions moving forward. Number one, planning board reappointments. There's two of them. Any questions, any comments?
Just one question. I noticed that these are all 5-year terms. Is there a reason why we have them on for 5, or would the board consider possibly having them on for a lesser term, say 3 years? I know if you have 2 consecutive 5-year terms, you're looking at a 10-year time. There might be some other opportunity for some of our residents to be involved in some of these committees. I just thought maybe shortening the term to a 3-year, unless somebody else can convince me otherwise.
Trustee Linden, you've been here quite a while. Is there a state statute or law, or is that just the procedure we followed in the past?
Yeah, according to the state, you have a 5-member board on the planning board, and you'll think the term goes according to the number of board members. So you have five board members. You have 5-year terms.
Okay.
You can find that in the NICOM book, and you can find that in state law. So,
yeah, thanks.
Okay, thank you for clearing it up, Trustee Linden. Number 2, we have a zoning board reappointment for the same term. Any comments or any questions? Hold on one second here. I have our building inspector. Hey, Mr. Barbara, did you need to make a comment?
Yeah, it's the law. You have to be 5-year terms.
Our code enforcement officer, Chuck LaBarbera, confirmed that it is a law, and that's something we have to abide by. Thank you, Chuck. Thank you. Okay. Any questions on the zoning board reappointment? Next resolution will be Bach Barbecue Fundraiser. That's scheduled for June. I'm guessing these are all, depending on COVID and what happens, things may have to be remote, but at least the request is in for that right now. Any questions, any comments on the Bach Barbecue Fundraiser? North End Water District water applications from the town of Pomfret. There are 2 of them. Are there any comments or any questions?
Doug, both of these requests came in as residential, and both of them are commercial.
Right.
And not that, we would deny them water, but I think that we need to be on the same page with the town of Pomfret. And they have approved one of them already as a residential at their last meeting. And I think that they need to change those both to commercial. I don't know if you want to act on them and then have them change them, but they are actually both commercial accounts.
Right, the building permit for the second location does specifically state that it's going to be used as a car wash and detail shop.
Yes.
So
And it's already built and connected.
it's built and connected. They can't be receiving water currently, I can't assume.
I think they used an existing line. They tore down a house.
Okay.
So they're actually using water?
I'm not sure, but I think it's something we'd have to check because they did tear down a house
Well, they
that had
can't,
a connection.
They can't
So-
just do that.
they can't just use water without the village's approval.
Right. I
So,
understand that.
So
But
it
we
looks
have to
like
change
they need to amend their request to have these be commercial properties and then forward that request, and we'll make that in the form of a motion to be passed.
Yes.
But we also I probably should have either Tony or whomever make sure that they're not accessing water currently without any kind of authorization.
Oh, they're being billed because there's, they tore down a house and reconnected. It's being billed. It's just, I don't believe it's being billed correctly.
Well,
Okay.
yeah, that's a problem because if they're being billed incorrectly, because I know that in some districts over there that their commercial properties are billed at a different rate. So,
Yes,
that's
that's why we want to change this. Yes, correct.
I wouldn't want them to be considered theft of service.
I don't
we
think
need-
that they thought about it, but and they are making application for it based on the building permit. So
So are we tabling this again? Because we tabled this last time. And for
we did
clarification-
table it. We went back to the town of Pomfret. Town of Pomfret again said they thought they had approved it as residential, but Anne Marie actually did some homework on the application from the Lake Erie Trailer Park, spoke to the manager who said it is indeed going to be commercial. So we would ask that the town of Pomfret change
Sure.
that from residential to commercial.
So again, we're tabling this then again, is what I'm saying.
Yes, I believe so. Even though we've asked them, we've only asked them about the trailer park one. We have not addressed the other one yet.
Okay, so that resolution will be tabled and we will require clarification and changing of verbiage to make those be commercial applications.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
All right, moving forward, credit card services. I'd like to have our treasurer, Alyssa, brief the board on this different company here that goes through M&T Bank. And Alyssa, it's all yours.
Okay, so this this program is through M&T Bank. Hammer is a third party that they deal with, and everything that Hammer set up the website, which is what our processing will be going through. This is at no cost to the village whatsoever. Everything that is billed, or every fee is billed directly to the person using the credit card. So we don't see any of those fees come in or out of our bank accounts. They strictly are taken care of with the customer and through Hammer. It's really easy to use. I've messed around with, they set up our part of the website, and it's really simple for the customer, and the reporting is excellent because it will divide up the whatever they're paying for, say water, sewer, or permits, or if we choose to add taxes, all the reporting lists that information separately.
Yeah, this is nice that they came forward, that we already work with M&T, but they came forward and put this plan, this system together specifically for the village, which was nice.
Yes, and if you guys agree to do it, they already have our site set up for the customer, so we would just have to put the URL on our website and we're good to go.
Yeah, this has been a long time coming, and this is something that our public, in addition to dropping off at our drop box and mailing in with the pandemic and COVID, we need to do things more remotely. There might even be the possibility of EFT, electronic fund transfers, with this as well, I believe, correct, Alyssa?
Yes.
So there's a lot of possibilities here, and these are some things that our residents would make their lives a lot more convenient and easy. So any other questions or comments on the credit card services contract here and provision that Alyssa's working on? Okay.
Thank you, Alyssa.
You're welcome.
All right, number 6, legal counsel for the Village of Fredonia. We've had our trustees look at legal counsel, and we've had different options here. I'll have the board, if they would like to discuss it or ask any questions right now. We're basically have decided to go with an outside firm, and that's what this resolution is about. Is there any comments or any questions?
I think, Doug, you and I both met with them, as we talked about in a previous meeting, because we didn't have a chance to prior to that. So you and I met with them, and we had a lot of questions, and they answered a lot of our questions. Some of them, like mine, right, because they work with the county also, a higher level of government above. So then I had some concerns of conflicts there, but they assured us that they would, if there was any issues that we had conflict with the county, that they would step back from both the county and the village, so that we would each have to find somebody. They wouldn't represent one or the other, and that would be fine. My other one was that we had we've always used the in-house attorney, and I find a great value in having an in-house attorney for access and cost reasons. This time, they did put an ad out looking for an individual. Apparently, there isn't any interest in enough interest in someone that the committee felt qualified for that, and they felt that this firm from Buffalo would be more qualified. I do have my concerns of the cost. I think we're going to be at a great cost, much more than what we would have in with an in-house attorney. They have unbillable hours. And they were thinking that it would only take about 20 hours a month. I find that unrealistic, but I think that they're going to try to work with us. We do need counsel at this time. It's been a little bit too long now, and we have many needs within the village right now with contracts, negotiations, and litigation and everything that needs to be finalized and taken care of. So I think we're going to have to move forward with this, at least in the time being. We could review this after a period of time here, but we need to get some matters taken care of, and it'll probably be at a great cost, but we need to get it done. That's my thoughts on this. So we can move forward, I guess.
Thank you. Any other comments?
Tony,
Oh, Tony, go ahead.
Tony, I have a question. What do we do when there's issues of labor negotiations or hopefully not, but possible grievances? What are we going to do with that?
They have a department specifically designed for that. You'll contact them and they will come down and help you through any, try to either soothe issues within before any litigation happens, help them work through matters. They would also handle it any further if you need to. But they do have counsel that will come down for that upon request.
All right, that's great. I would request that I get all the contact info in case there's any issues, so I can go through them. Or do you want me to go through the board first?
The department heads should, and it was my understanding that they recommend that the department's heads should have that access, the trustees, the mayor, and village clerk, of course.
I think they're going to set up a way in which there'll be contact, Tony. They're going to give all the contact information, but I think there may be a step process involved. But I think they're going to set that up. They did mention it.
All right, that's awesome. Thank you. And I just want, clarity, because hopefully we don't need them, but it would be great to know the process.
Thank you, Tony. Thank you. Any other comments or questions from the other trustees? All righty. Budget transfer. There are some budget transfers within a couple departments there. I believe you have the backup for that. Any questions, any comments on that?
The budget transfers, yeah, if they're listed, could answer, I guess. We're only halfway through our budget year, and we're already doing transfers. Usually that these kind of types of transfers don't happen until much later in the year. Are we going like way over on, especially our overtime and things like that? Where are we in that?
Well, the one issue was that we didn't budget nearly enough for the fire overtime. That was that big one. And then for the wastewater treatment plant, it was the pump that went bad. So that caused some budget issues there. And then I'm trying to find my sheet. Some of the personnel is going over, which I don't usually see until the end of the month. So I'm not aware of that it's happening until the very end. But it looks like, everything else is pretty good. We're keeping an eye. People are doing the purchase. Department heads are doing purchase requisitions, so we're aware of what's coming down the pike. I have a spreadsheet of bills that we haven't received, so we can watch what we know is coming in and what is going out.
I fear that we're going to be, because we're now already doing this, and these aren't very large amounts, but that every month from now till the end of our budget year, we're going to be doing more transfers. And where are you going to keep finding that from?
I'm hoping that's not the case. I really am.
Yeah, that's the fear. Where's this money going to keep coming from? We're going to have to.
Well, with the department heads, have we spoken to them in regard to why is there so much overtime with the fire department? Ryan, are you there?
Yeah, he is there.
Okay.
Yeah, these are, go ahead, Ryan. Walker.
Yes, I'm here. The overtime line is any hours worked over 40 hours. So it's actually in line with where it's been in the last couple of years, but there wasn't enough in the budget to cover those hours.
I thought it was over like 56 hours down there.
No, they've been anything over 40 hours goes into that budget line. Last calendar year of 2020, there was 500 hours total for the year. It was actually time and a half. And that line has always been treated as, an extra timeline as opposed to an overtime line.
And where are we compared to last year with those hours?
Pretty much right on spot where we've been the last 5-6 years.
And I understand that with the wastewater treatment plant, we didn't allow for any overtime there because we historically have not had it. And Sean didn't feel that we needed, there was no expectation that there would be any. So I think there's a lesson learned when we build our budget the next time.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Are there any other questions on any of the other budget transfers? Okay, move on to the comprehensive plan. I know a lot of the board members have been attended the planning board meetings and got much information on the comprehensive plan. Is there any comments or questions?
Well, I did, and when I was at the meeting, they talked about the choice of being Ingalls was going to be the choice, and the Pomfret agreed. But the resolution states that for a cost not to exceed $60,000 shared between the two, 50-50, but the statement from and the information that the clerk has given us here, it said that the Ingalls cost would be $70,000, and that was the same thing that they stated at the meeting that I was at, that I attended, that the cost for Ingalls would be $70,000, not $60,000.
Yeah, I think, Jim, I explained that to you that
you explained in an email that possibly that Dan Pecos, from the supervisor from the town, was looking into having them see if they could match the other one at $60,000.
He negotiated it down to that.
I don't see any statement of that. I don't. What I have is from the clerk.
Guys, one at a time, please. Order. One at a time.
Doug, he sent you and I an email about that.
Yes.
You'd like to verify it?
Yep, I can forward that on, or I will do that. But yes, it was negotiated down.
So in fact, it is 60,000. Can I go on your word by that? Because the information provided by the clerk states 70,000. So I'm gonna, but the resolution does say 60. I will go by your word on this.
Yep. And after the meeting, Trustee Linden, I will forward you that email.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Just to clarify, that letter that was sent to all of us was sent by Scott McKay shortly after that meeting, and was sent before the negotiation of that salary occurred. And that's what the clerk wrote the resolution based on. And, but it did occur. So,
like I said, I didn't get no one's forwarded the information to me. So I'm going by what I have.
Fair enough. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right. Move on to old business. Excuse me. Elevator repair quotes. I believe everybody received 3 different quotes, but Tony, this elevator repair, I'm considering this an emergency repair because this is essential, and this is probably ADA requirements, and this would preclude or bypass our procurement policy because it's an emergency repair. Would you concur
In my opinion, it's emergency repair because of the ADA requirements.
Okay. So we did get some quotes, folks. We got some quotes for just replacing the cylinder, the hydraulic cylinder. And from one company, we got a quote for a total overhaul of the entire project. I'd like everybody to consider, though, we have courts that have been off, but we will be coming back on the 3rd floor. And we also have the Opera House, hopefully, possibly getting back into operation. So there are some time constraints. There's some money constraints if you reviewed the costs. So at this point, I will open up for discussion or any questions.
Well, if you look at the cost, I mean, this was not a cost we anticipated, and the one that proposed that overall the rebuild was a steep cost. The cost from the company we usually that we worked with before, Elevator Maintenance of Buffalo, their price it was pretty reasonable, very, and they can get it done quickly. So I think that at this point, I mean, they know our equipment. They've maintained it for a long time, and I think that we certainly go by their recommendations and allow them to get it up and running for us at a reasonable cost. That's my.
I kind of feel differently about that because if you look at the comparison of the work done, I feel that at this point, why put a Band-Aid on it? I think we need to get it done, and not just get it running, but actually fix it. And if you look at the comparisons to the work done, each one is kind of correlates with the amount of money that they have quoted there as far as the amount of work that's done. I think we should probably revisit what needs. Do we just put a Band-Aid on it and wait until it breaks to a point where we have to, replace it or spend a lot more money, or do we get it back to a working order where we can trust it and rely on it for years to come? I don't know.
That's the company. The company has been working with it for all these years. I mean, they're not going to allow something to go that isn't going to be safe or won't work. I would think that it has to be inspected prior to operation. With all of these firms, and if they can assure us that this is going to put it back in operation, I think that's a good way to go.
If I may add, there may be some additional costs incurred because all 3 companies need to hoist the elevator car up to measure the diameter of the piston underneath, and they can't do that just by coming in and looking at it. So that may be additional cost.
That would be on all 3 though.
All 3.
Yeah.
Yep.
Anne Marie, out of the maintenance, I know they're the company that's supposedly done our maintenance. That was supposedly a monthly maintenance, correct?
Yes, it is monthly.
And have they been doing their monthly maintenance in the time that
They have been. I was unaware of the fact that they could get into the building through the police department. So I thought when our building was locked that they weren't doing it, but I was incorrect, and they were coming in and doing it, and they have the paperwork to show that.
Good.
Trustee Bashaw,
Yes.
in Dunkirk, we use DCB Elevator Company for all my 12 years there. And to Anne Marie's answer, she's correct. They would come in once a month and do an elevator check. The problem with the Fredonia elevator is it's so old that you can put a Band-Aid on this, which I don't recommend. I think that you, the board, should put out an RFP or RFQ or bids for an engineering firm to look at it and do a total rehab. It's really, really old. You're throwing good money in an old hole.
Tony, have you seen these quotes that we've received? as far as the
No,
scope of work they're going to do?
no, I have not.
I can get you those copies tomorrow, Tony.
I would love that because I can tell you if they're realistic or out of the, ballpark.
Well, the one company that I thought was a little bit above the rest has a long list of other companies they work with, and that was, a positive for them.
I have no problem with whatever company it is. I'm just saying that to Trustee Bashaw's concern, I mean, it's, at some point, when do you keep throwing good money on a Band-Aid
Right.
instead of, there's grant money out there. There's ADA grant money. We have a grant writer part-time, I believe, Travis. He should be able to get a grant for a new elevator.
Well, if that was the case, I would say if we could get the grant, if there's even if some matching funds, I'd say go for it.
I would too.
And if that's
Jim.
What's that, Tony?
Jim, I agree. Jim, I agree. Fix it for now, but why should the village have to bear the cost on a total upgrade for an ADA issue?
I appreciate you. I appreciate your thoughts on that and bringing that to our attention, Tony, because that's a very good answer. Because there probably is some grant money available through that, and but in the meantime, we do need to get it operational because of the courts and everything, and then that would be a lower cost to do the least expensive way at this time. Yeah, it is. We all know it's an old elevator, and I don't recall a tremendous amount of money going in it. When you say keep putting Band-Aids on it, I don't recall a tremendous amount of money going into this over the years. Of course, there's always then you're required to have regular maintenance and inspections. Those are required. But I think that if we could get it up and running and then ask to look into grants to have a new one installed, that'd be probably the smartest way to go about it.
I concur, because in Dunkirk, where you had city court on the second floor, and you have Pomfret court on the second floor, we had to, in the city, do an emergency repair until we got grant money to do a total rehaul.
Right.
It's a parallel. Same thing in Fredonia.
Right. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Ladies and gentlemen, I was just talking to our Chief Code Enforcement Officer, Chuck LaBarbera. He says before the doors can open to the public, the elevator has to be in operation. It's an ADA requirement. That's not an option. We can't start court. We can't start Opera House. The public cannot be in that building without that elevator operational. So
that's correct. So
that is a must. So everybody knows that's the requirements, and there probably is going to be some time constraints here. If the court has to be moved to a different facility, in the meantime, if they have to open up, then we'll have to work around that, and we'll have to work with the Opera House.
If they could get the elevator up and running for now in a very timely fashion here at a lower cost to get it going, then that would buy us time to look into grants and see if we could do it. And then you could, when you're going to rebuild a complete elevator rebuild there, then you can plan for that, and you could plan to have the courts held in another location until the new elevator is installed. But in the meantime, I think you have to have that operational.
Absolutely. If this repair will put that elevator in operation, then we can open up the building to these different.
Right. So I don't know where you guys want to go with it. Those are my thoughts. I hope. What do you guys think? I mean, I'd like to have it a resolution to move forward, so we could do something, so the courts could be going. So if we get a resolution soon here.
Alyssa, what were the price quotes you got?
I only have seen the initial one from the elevator service.
The elevator maintenance company, well, the company that currently does the maintenance bottom line, I believe, was 36,000.
Wow.
That's the
Wait.
cheapest.
The next one,
Unless I'm reading it incorrectly, someone else want to look at these and tell me.
Tony,
you're
Tony, they
correct.
go anywhere from the '30s to the '70s for just the cylinder replacement. So what we'll do is we'll get you those quotes and information and have you look those over if you would.
Well, Mayor Essick, and Alyssa, check out DCB Elevator Company out of Buffalo. They maintained ours in Dunkirk for many years. It wouldn't hurt to get them down there for a inspecting the quote.
Okay.
That sounds like a lot of money for a Band-Aid. So, I mean, that's up to you people.
That's the cheapest one, Tony.
Pardon me?
That was the cheapest quote.
I know, but I've got a guy in DCB. I'll text or Alyssa the contact information right now.
Okay.
Doesn't hurt to check another one.
No, it doesn't.
Absolutely. Thank you, Tony.
If you wish. I mean, it's up to you.
Any bit will help.
I'll try. I'll send it to Alyssa.
Thank you, Tony.
Thanks, Tony.
You're welcome.
Any other comments or concerns here with the elevator quote?
Well, again, it comes down to money. You know, where are we going to get the money to pay
The
for it?
problems that they have is that
I know that there are some expenditures in the budget that we have not yet spent in equipment. And if we feel that this is an emergency, that perhaps we need to utilize monies budgeted for equipment in order to fix this.
The other question I had was, obviously, if this company was doing our routine maintenance on this, I mean, how long has this been going on before it decided to go? How come we didn't get a little heads up prior to it, you know, during the whole process? I don't understand where we missed the boat, that all of a sudden the thing just shut down on us. If we had regular maintenance and regular service, they could have pointed this out to us earlier.
Hydraulics, I mean, it's mechanical. I mean, hydraulics, sometimes they just stop. I mean, they give out. I mean, it's, you know, it happens.
Well, I don't know those answers. And if there's any other questions, we'll move forward.
Again, we don't want to delay this. We want to be able to get this ball rolling because we are going to need this elevator soon.
Right.
Yep. Alrighty. Well, we will work on that diligently here and move forward, and hopefully we'll have all the information we need to make a decision here next meeting. All right, moving forward under old business, Pomfret water and sewer contracts. We're still reviewing those. Our committee is still reviewing that, and open it up to committee, other committee members if they have any comments or at this point.
No,
Comments?
Jim, anything to say?
Any comments?
No, I think we need to wait for our attorneys to review all of that, and some advisory needs to be made on that.
Okay.
I'll have to agree with Jim. Until we get an attorney in place or a firm in place to represent us, I don't want to move forward until we get legal representation.
All right, thank you. Is there any other old business?
Yeah, I feel it's important to move forward with having a vote on the seats for the public office of trustee. We have 2 vacant seats. We had already voted on one person that failed to pass. We have 3 other people have expressed interest. I think it's only fair that we should vote on those. I could make a motion tonight that we vote on all 3 of them, actually, at least to find someone to fill those 2 seats. I think it's important that the public understand who's voting for what, and so if we hold this vote tonight, we could fill these seats. As Brad has pointed out earlier tonight, there's not a whole lot of people. Not everybody's interested in serving on a village board. Thank you, Brad, for pointing that out. It's true. These offices are tough to fill. We have 3 people of interest. They have some qualifications, a couple much more than others. And I'd like to move forward tonight and vote. We have, if I make a motion to do so, thank you.
Actually, Trustee Linden, if we could maintain an order and stay in order of the agenda, I would request and actually do this during the resolution section. You could start that right at the beginning if you wouldn't mind.
Okay, I could do that, yeah, but I'd like to do that tonight. Like I said, it's important that we move forward with this in the public hands. Thank you.
Thank you. Is there any other old business? Okay, we'll move on to new business. Wendell change order CE number 006. Any comments or any questions on that? It was with the fire department for a small change order. Okay, we'll move on to ESI Group, our EAP Services Renewal. Something we have to provide for our employees every year. It's just a renewal of the contract with them. Any comments or questions? Is there any other new business?
Oh, was there any discussion as far as the ESI group, the EAP service renewal? I'm sorry. I had Michelle do a usage check for me, and during the course of the year, 21 employees, 21 times I should say, not 21 different employees, utilized this service mostly for account information and assistance. This costs, I believe the cost to this, Alyssa, correct me if I'm wrong, is it $3,000 or $3,500, somewhere between that?
Yeah, something like that. 35. Yes.
$35.50.
Okay. I think that this is a good service. I'm familiar with it from my career and my job. But, I think that if we approve it to continue, that we should encourage our employees to use it and for us to use it. If we have concerns about employees, that we refer them to this counseling service or to this service that we're paying for and we've been paying for. I checked to see if it was required in the contract. It's not. But I just want to remind the trustees that are present that this is a service that we also can refer to and utilize, and we should be doing it. We're paying $3,500 a year for it.
Well, I totally agree. Totally agree with you, Trustee Bashaw. I kind of look at this as like an insurance policy. You hope that somebody doesn't have to use it for very, dire situations, life and death stuff, but it's there. So I'm kind of glad that we didn't have a lot of employees have to use it for, very serious situations because, we don't want that, but it's there if it is. And I'm glad we have it. Like you said, we can utilize it as well. And I hope it's, like I say, an insurance policy, you never have to use it, but it's there.
I would like to add also, I remember this discussion last year when we approved using this service. It's a very good service, and it does handle not only just crisis information, but it also handles other financial information, family information, just general counseling. So yes, I think that Michelle should be able to get out some more information to our employees, let them know that this is available to them at no cost. And it's a great opportunity if they just have someone to talk to. But again, it's a service we don't utilize as much as we probably should.
I think it's a good idea, Roger, that we get out a reminder that a list of the services that this particular agency provides might be helpful to everybody.
I agree.
I'll talk to Michelle about that. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Is there any other new business? Okay. Executive session, I would like to enter at the end of the meeting into executive session, and I will ask for a resolution to that motion.
Is there a reason why, Mayor?
Yes, I'd like to enter into executive session for discussion of proposed pending or current litigation.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome. All right, we can start the regular Board of Trustees meeting. At a regular meeting of the Board of Trustees of the Village of Fredonia, duly called and held on the 25th day of January 2021 at 6:30 p.m. via video conferencing in Fredonia, New York, and public notice of the time and place of this meeting has been given to the news media, conspicuously posted in one or more designated public locations in accordance with Section 104 of the Open Meetings Law.
This portion of the meeting is for public comment. Any member of the public wishing to speak shall submit their statement by email to Fredonia Village Clerk at netsync.net no later than 4 p.m. Monday, January 25th, 2021. Such comments will be read during the public portion of the video conference. I will ask that comments refrain from remarks that are in poor taste, slanderous, or not germane to any action taken or contemplated by the board. I did not receive any correspondence.
Seeing as though we did not receive any correspondence, I will close the public portion of this meeting. For my mayor's report, as when Brad had spoke earlier, myself and Brad, we had a very nice conversation earlier in the week, and I appreciate that. Also, I will be beginning the process of developing my proposed mayor's budget with our treasurer, and I will be meeting with department heads here in the next week or two. I have been part of a steering committee for our Police Reform Act that's required by New York State. We recently held a steering committee meeting that included our stakeholders, which were some members of our community, the Fredonia Police Chief and the Stock County Sheriff, James Quattrone. There were surveys sent out, and it seemed like we got a lot of good positive feedback from our surveys from our public. And shortly here, Chief Maslock will have the reform plan to the board in the next month or two for the board approval, so we can implement that and have it to the state in April. And that is all I have for my mayor's report. Trustee Linden, do you have a report tonight?
No other reports, thank you.
Thank you. Trustee Britz, do you have a report tonight?
Yeah, I've got a couple of things I'd like to go over tonight. On January 12th, I attended the monthly meeting of the Fredonia Farm Festival. The board was in discussion of, looks like they're going to be moving this year's Farm Festival to the fairgrounds. One of the reasons that they discussed was our food truck law. It seems to be putting a big hamper on getting food vendors in our village to participate in our festivals. I'd like to discuss this in more detail with the board and possibly take a look at working some sort of fee structure so that we could accommodate the Farm Festival to have our festival kept in our village. I also attended the Fredonia Festivals Fredonia meeting, which was also held in January here. The committee is also up in the air on where to have their Red, White, and Blues Festival, which they're also considering moving to the fair grounds area due to the restrictions of the food truck law. A couple other things, we should be receiving some letters from President Larry Fiorella regarding this year's schedule for the upcoming events. On Tuesday, the 19th, I had a department head meeting with, or a committee meeting with Chris Surma. We kind of touched base a little bit on the water issues in the village. We spent about a half an hour just kind of going over some basic information. Chris wanted to let us know that right now the levels are back up to acceptable levels at our reservoir, and everything's to be okay at that end. And I know, Chris, I don't know if you're on tonight. We did touch base a little bit about the chlorine system. I guess the contractors are going to be coming in to finish up that section. I don't know if Chris, you're on there. All right, Chris isn't on there.
Chris should be on here.
That's okay.
Sharma?
Yeah, you got me.
That's all right. Hey, Chris, I was just touching base regarding our meeting that we had regarding the chlorine system. If you want to elaborate to the board a little bit more on what's happening with that.
Right now, the distributors of all the parts for the plumbers to put in are they're all en route, I guess. All the parts and stuff. Everything's been paid for. It's just a matter of getting it done probably within the next couple of weeks. I imagine they'll be all ready to go on it.
I appreciate that, Chris, and looking forward to talking with you again soon. On Tuesday, the 19th, I had a meeting with Alyssa. We kind of touched base a little bit about the M&T app. We had an opportunity to review the app. It seemed to be what we needed to do, and obviously there's a resolution on tonight's board meeting to approve that application. We discussed some of the budget transfers, and pretty much that's all. We had a little brief discussion on upcoming budget information that might be useful for us in our mayor's proposed budget and our budget going forward. On Wednesday, the 28th, I had a meeting with Tony and Jennifer at the DPW. We went over the streets and sidewalks as part of my committee member. We talked about some of the salt being used. Obviously, there's been a mild winter. So again, we've got about 50% of our salt usage. And I think Tony kind of chimed off on us, but looks like we're in pretty good shape for salt. We did touch base a little bit on the need for a new truck. That's something I know the board, we've touched base a little bit about, and we're going to be touching, a little bit more about rotating equipment in our fleet. One of the other subjects that was brought up to me was regarding the park benches. I know we discussed a while ago that we were talking about using the park benches as a fundraiser for the fountain. I've had some interest from the public on purchasing those, and I'd like to come up with a proposal from all of us of what we would charge to sell off those benches. And it looks like right now we have 14 good benches that could be auctioned off or sold off. And I know the DPW said that they would like to hold back at least 6 of those that we could use maybe in other parks throughout our village, and also as maybe some spare parts. One other thing was we did discuss was about the wood chipper. I know we talked about this in our budget, but I think we might want to take another look at what we can do and maybe a combined service with the town of Pomfret and purchasing a chipper. Jennifer and I kind of reviewed some of the work schedules and some of the timesheets that was going on at the DPW, and I have some concerns that I'd like to address maybe at another time once I get some more information. 2 o'clock on the same day, I had a meeting with Chief Walker. We discussed a few issues at the fire department. One of them is the seal on the ladder truck. Seems to be an ongoing issue, and he's got a representative coming down to give us an estimate on what it would cost to rebuild that seal. And then I have one other report, which I reached out to the volunteer fire department, and I had no response that week. One other thing I've been working on, I did call Bill, the gentleman that's working on our fountain. Looks like the molds are about ready to be poured. Looks like probably within the next couple of weeks, we're getting a phone call. I'd like to travel up there and possibly do a live video or do some sort of video of how the pouring is going to go for the molds. And that's pretty much all my reports for tonight.
Thank you, Trustee Britz. Chief Maslock, I spoke briefly about that police reform project that we're doing here. Did you want to comment any more on that before I move forward?
Just that it's going well. We're looking at all the responses that came in through the survey. There were 116 responses in reference to the police department, the overall activity, whether complaints are being handled, situations that arise, and things are going well with it at this point in time. We're just looking at the data and compiling as much information as we can before we actually come up with the plan.
Super. Thank you very much. And Eva Bond, Trustee Batshaw, have your report if you have one, please.
I have nothing for you this evening.
Thank you very much. We'll go with the reports from our clerk now, please.
First report is the Fredonia Justice Court report for the month of December 2020. Total number of cases closed, 56. Vehicle and traffic were 30, criminal cases 16, village ordinances were 7, civil cases 2, ABC laws 1. Total fines and surcharges $4,646. Parking ticket fines $2,583 for a total of $7,229. The second report is the Fredonia Fire Department report for the month of December 2020. Total fire 6, rescue and EMS 129, hazardous conditions no fire 1, service call 6, good intent call 14, false alarm and false call 8, for a grand total of 164. I also have the annual report for the year 2020 from the fire department. Total fire 54. Over pressure, rupture, explosion, overheat, and no fire 3. Rescue and EMS 1,230 calls. Hazardous conditions no fire were 40. Service calls 61. Good intent calls 134. False alarm and false call 184. Severe weather and natural disasters 8, for a grand total of 1,714. And that's it for the reports.
Thank you. And would you please read the correspondence, please?
A letter dated January 20th, 2021 was received from Mayor Douglas Essick recommending a reappointment of David Friedman, Chestnut Street, Fredonia, and Rick Napoli, Forest Place, Fredonia, to the Planning Board for 5-year terms.
Okay, be it resolved that the reappointments of David Friedman, Chestnut, sorry. Oh, okay. Of Chestnut Street, Fredonia, and Rick Napoli, Forest Place, Fredonia, to the Fredonia Planning Board for 5-year terms, which shall expire January of 2026, are hereby approved.
Second.
The motion is second. Any further discussion? Trustee Linden?
Aye.
Trustee Britz?
Yes.
Trustee Bashaw?
Yes.
Carried.
A letter dated January 20th, 2021 was received from Mayor Douglas Essick recommending the reappointment of John Connolly of Risley Street, Fredonia, to the Zoning Board for a 5-year term.
Be it resolved that the reappointments of John Conley, Risley Street, Fredonia, the zoning board for 5-year term which shall expire January of 2026 is hereby approved.
I second that.
The motion is second. Is there any further discussion? Trustee Linden?
Aye.
Trustee Britz?
Aye.
Trustee Bashaw?
Yes.
Carried.
Correspondence was dated January 4th, 2021 was received from Rick Davis, Executive Director of the 1891 Fredonia Opera House, requesting the use of West Barker Common, the gazebo, and bagging of 3 parking meters on Church Street for the Bach Barbecue, Bake Sale, and Basket Auction fundraiser, Saturday, June 5th, 2021, from 7 a.m. to 4 p.m.
Be resolved that the request from Rick Davis, Executive Director of the 1891 Fredonia Opera House, Inc., to use the West Barker Common, the gazebo, and the bagged 3 parking meters on Church Street for the Bach Barbecue, Bake Sale, and Basket Auction fundraiser to support the presentation of the Bach and Beyond Barbecue Music Festival on Saturday, June 5th, 2021, from 7 a.m. to 4 p.m. is hereby approved, with the stipulation that the group will be responsible for cleanup and is subject to the direction of the police department and the village receiving a certificate of insurance in the amount of $1 million, naming the village as an additional insured, which we have received.
I'll second that.
The motion is second. Is there any further discussion? Trustee Linden?
Aye.
Trustee Britz?
Yes.
Trustee Bashaw?
Yes.
Carried. We'll move on to resolutions.
Okay, at this time, Doug, I'd like to make a motion that we hold a vote on the prospective people we have for 2 vacant seats as Board of Trustees. We had held a vote on one of, there was four people who had expressed interest. We had held one vote previous meeting that did not pass. There's 3 other people who have expressed interest. They all have qualifications. some more than others, but they have, we have Brad Meyers, who is, was our police chief for many years, head of the department. He participated in budgets. He has was participated in committees. He attended all the board meetings over many years before he retired a year ago. He would like to be on the board. We also have Dr. Barris, who was a past board member. He's familiar with the process. And we have Scott Johnston, who was on the town board and had run for office before for a trustee. So they all had interest in this. I think it's important that the community understand who the trustees are, what the trustees are voting for. So if we like to hold this vote tonight, I make a motion that we first vote on Brad Meyers.
Are you making a motion to appoint Brad Meyers as trustee?
I am.
Okay, is there a second? Is there a second? Is there a second? Okay. You're not getting a second, so that motion does not go forward.
Okay, then I will also then make the motion that we vote to appoint Dr. Barris for one of those trustee seats.
For the motion for Dr. Barris for trustee, is there a second? Is there a second for trustee Barris? Is there a second for trustee Barris? Seeing there is no second, that motion has died.
Well, then I will also make a motion that we hold a vote for trustee seat. It'll be one of the two vacant seats that we vote for Scott Johnston. Do we have I make a motion.
There's been a motion. There's been a motion for Scott Johnson for trustee. Is there a second?
I'll second that.
There's been a second from trustee Bashaw. The motion is second. Any further discussion?
The one thing I do have one concern with Scott Johnston is that it needs to be known that his wife, Anne Marie Johnston, is our village clerk. I don't foresee any issues. They keep things. I worry a little bit about conflict, but I believe they would assure us that they would try to keep things conflict free, and he would not vote on anything that would have anything to do with probably her employment. So with that, I'll vote aye.
Okay. Trustee Britz?
Yes.
Trustee Bashaw?
Yes.
Motion's been carried unanimously to appoint Scott Johnston, our fourth trustee. Are there any other walk-in resolutions this time? Okay. Will somebody, trustee Linden and Bashaw, we need to table these next two water district Pomfret connections?
Yeah, I'll make a motion to table the first one, the Pomfret Water District connection for the what was requested for residential water service at 3742 East Main Road. I'll make a motion to table.
There's been a motion and a second. Trustee Linden?
Aye.
Trustee Britz?
Yes.
Trustee Bashaw?
Yes. I make a motion to table the request for water hookup to 10299 McAllister Road, Fredonia, for the same reason. It needs to be changed to a commercial service rather than a residential service.
I'll second that.
All right. Trustee Linden?
Aye.
Trustee Britz?
Yes.
Trustee Bashaw?
Yes.
Motion's been carried to table that resolution.
Whereas the village residents express a desire to pay by credit card, and whereas M&T Bank of 346 Main Street, Buffalo, New York, 14202, and Hammer Enterprises of 4200-A North Bicentennial Drive in McLean, Texas, have offered to perform credit card processing services for no fee to the village. Be it resolved, the mayor is hereby authorized and directed to enter into a credit card processing fee agreement with M&T Bank and Hammer Enterprises.
I'll second that.
It's been a motion and a second. Is there further discussion? Trustee Linden,
Aye.
trustee Britz,
Yes.
trustee Bashaw,
Yes.
carried.
Be it resolved that Webster Zani LLP of 657 Person Street, East Aurora, New York, is hereby appointed legal counsel for the village of Fredonia at a rate per contractual agreement effective immediately.
I'll second that resolution.
A motion and a second. Is there further discussion? Trustee Linden,
Aye.
trustee Britz,
Yes.
trustee Bashaw,
Yes.
carried.
Be it resolved that pursuant to section 5-520 of the village law, the following budget transfers are hereby approved. $50,000 from the fire personnel A3410.1 to fire personnel overtime line of A3410.11. $50,000 from the ambulance personnel A4540.1 to ambulance overtime at A4540.11. $1,000 from the parks contractual A7110.44 to parks personnel A7110.1. $358 from shade tree supplies A8560.41 to storm sewer supplies A8140.41. $10,000 purification supplies dash water purchasing F8320.41 to purification overtime F8330.11. $4,112 from the employee benefit dash state retirement fund at F9010.8 to employee benefit dash workman's compensation F9040.4. $3,000 from the sewage utility dash electric G8130.421 to the sewage overtime of G8130.11. $2,000 from the sewage utility dash heat G8130.442 to sewage overtime G8130.11. $9,500 from the employee benefit hospital and medical G9062.8 to sewage treatment equipment and repair G8130.417. $15,711 from the employee benefit dash state retirement G9010.8 to employee benefit workman's compensation at G9040.8.
I second that.
Trustee Linden,
Aye.
trustee Britz,
Yes.
Bashaw,
Yes.
carried.
We're going to do the
Comprehensive plan.
sure.
Okay. Whereas the cost of the comprehensive plan not to exceed $60,000 will be divided equally between the village of Fredonia and the town of Pomfret over a period of time not to exceed 3 years. And whereas all grant monies received for this project will be applied to the overall cost, with the remaining balance be divided equally between the two municipalities. Now therefore, be it resolved that Ingalls Planning and Design of 6 North Main Street, Fairport, New York, 14420 is hereby appointed as the planning firm hired to coordinate and complete the development of a collaborative joint comprehensive plan with the town of Pomfret. Be it further resolved that the mayor is hereby authorized and directed to enter into an agreement with Ingalls Planning for an amount not to exceed the village's portion of $30,000 over a period not to exceed 3 years.
I second that.
Any further discussion? Trustee Linden,
Aye.
trustee Brits,
Yes.
trustee Bashaw,
Yes.
carried.
Whereas the village is responsible to provide an employee assistance program, EAP, for its personnel, and whereas the ESI Group of Wellsville, New York has offered to provide an EAP service to the village's 87 employees for a 12 months at the cost of $3,500. Therefore, be it resolved, the mayor is hereby authorized and directed to enter an agreement with ESI Group to provide EAP services.
I second that.
Motion and second, further discussion. Trustee Linden,
Aye.
trustee Brits,
Yes.
trustee Bashaw,
Yes.
carried. We have one more.
Whereas the village previously retained H&K Services, Inc. of Leon, New York for the village's fire hall building envelope project. And here, whereas change order CE-006 has been requested for the removal and replacement of plywood sheathing at the tower roof. And whereas H&K Services has offered to perform these additional services in the amount of $463. Therefore, let it be resolved that the mayor is hereby authorized and directed to approve change order CE number 006 in the amount of $463.
I'll second that.
Trustee Linden,
Aye.
trustee Brits,
Yes.
Bashaw.
Yes.
Is there any further business that we'll take care of before we go into executive session?
Yeah, I just want to say how disappointing it was that we couldn't fill that other seat tonight. We had some discussions of compromise that I thought that was going to end up at this evening, and that didn't happen. And it's a shame that out of 4 people that showed interest, out of the few people that do in our community, that we couldn't fill these seats tonight. Thank you.
You're welcome. Would somebody make a motion to enter into executive session for the discussions of proposed, pending, or current litigation, please?
So moved.
Have a second?
Second.
Trustee Linden,
Aye.
trustee Brits,
Yes.
trustee Bashaw.
Yes.
Yes, sir. Go ahead.
Mayor, it's Tony.
Yes.
I just want you all to know that tonight, Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday, between 11 p.m. and 7 a.m., we're doing snow removal in the downtown Main Street business area.
Thank you. Thank you. Yes, we had some business with some concerns, and I appreciate that's getting done now. Thank you.
We'll get that done. Thank you.
Thank you.